Okay, I'm gonna guess it's maybe about 20 seconds. Oh, we don't have Kathy. We can't do anything without Kathy. Hey, Dave, how is it? Wait, no. Where's Kathy? Dave, hi.
Be good to have her in the office when she's close by.
Yeah.
Her reception's not that great out there. Okay.
Okay, great. Great, thanks. Okay.
There we go. Kathy Steer.
Is she there? Okay, then we can I'll wait till she's all hooked up. Meanwhile, Ron, we have another public comment for our next meeting. I'll send it over to you.
Thank you.
Yes, can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me?
Barely. Speak up. Okay. We all ready? All right. Thank you, David. Don't go very far. Okay. I don't have a hammer, but you get the idea. I'd like to call the Lincoln City Urban Renewal Agency meeting together. Open it for June 8th, and it is 5:06 according to my computer. And we have no public comment, and David didn't mention that there was anyone in the council chambers, so we will skip that part of it. And we do have the right to change the agenda if we all agree on that, and I do have one agenda change I'd like to make after we do roll call. Kathy?
Dick Anderson? Roll call Dick Anderson.
Oh, here?
Judy Casper?
Here.
Deanna Hinton?
Here.
Adam Holman?
Here.
Diane Coos?
Here.
Rick Mark?
Here.
And Mitch Parsons.
Here.
Okay, great. And the agenda item I'd like to add is right here, and I'd like to, if there are no objections, I'd like to have a moment of silence for the death of George Floyd and all of the other things that we have added to our plates of late, not to mention the coronavirus. Is that all right with everyone? Okay, thank you. Okay, Ashley, I was going to ask us to do that for 8 minutes and 46 minutes, but we don't have all that time, but thank you for that. And we don't have any citizens present, so we will be moving on to our public hearing, which is item E1, and it's a public hearing for resolution UR 2020-03, and that's to adopt the fiscal year 2020-21 budget. But if we don't have a hearing, I guess I'll open the hearing, waiting for comment, no comments. So I will ask someone to make a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. And that was Mitch, is that right?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say nay or no. Okay, thank you. That was unanimous. And now we move to F2, which is the resolution itself, number UR 2020-03, which adopts the budget. And
Madam Chair, I'd make motion to approve resolution number UR 2020-03, adopting the budget.
thank you. I'm sorry, that was kind of a, Diane, was that your voice in the back? Okay, Mitch, we'll give this one to Diane. All right, all those in favor of adopting the budget for our next fiscal year, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, unanimous, passes. Thank you. And next on the agenda, it's G, which is presentations, and this is the Economic Development SBDC annual update to us. And that's a local program support grant. And I'll turn this over to Allison to introduce Dave. How about that?
Thank you, Chair Hinton. Good evening, agency members. We are here to provide an annual update as we do every year, and every year anyway, since we started the local program support grant, which is for local nonprofits that provide business assistance. And the Small Business Development Center has been quite the force for getting our businesses some help, especially in this current context of coronavirus. So Dave Price, director, is here, and he's got a PowerPoint, and I'm sure able to answer all of our questions. Thanks.
Thanks, Allison. Can everybody hear me?
Yes?
Okay, great. So I've tried to be, I've tried to present a brief PowerPoint if I could. I figured that maybe you'd have questions, and we'd want to make this a little different than normal, but I'm going to just quickly go ahead and share my screen here and start this presentation. That's Merkel.
Very cute.
Yeah. Yes, the SBDC, this is typically when we'd come and talk about how wonderful the economy's going and how helpful the program has been. The program has been helpful, and this is part of the economic development toolkit that, you know, for folks watching at home who are unfamiliar with this, for the last, Allison, 6 years, it's been part of what is available to Lincoln City businesses simply by virtue of being located in the city and in the urban renewal district for most of that time. Is the same funds that allow you to apply for a 0% 10-year loan to replace the awning on your business or paint it or find other ways to generate more business. You can also invest those funds to take a class at the SBDC and have that cost waived and picked up by this fund. And so it's remarkable and really has been sort of a trendsetter in the state, and can't say enough about how much we appreciate that opportunity. But just very quickly, I'll get rolling here. Please interrupt at any time, and I'm more than happy to take questions later as well. So we can't talk about 2020 without talking about the last 9 weeks. I mean, it really eclipses everything. This academic year that we're talking about, your support funding, started way back in August of last year. But I don't know what to tell you. It's just been everything about what we do has been radically impacted since around the middle of March, as you know. And so one way, I won't make you read this script here, it's basically telling you what you already know, that Lincoln County and Lincoln City businesses are disproportionately impacted by this crisis. And one way to look at it is these numbers. I put this one in my slide today because it's a week newer than what I submitted last week. So these numbers may not exactly match what you had, but basically as of this morning, all this tells me, hopefully you can see these numbers and they're not too blurry in front of you. But essentially, this is just a holding up a mirror to the economy in my mind. If you look at the far right-hand side of this screen for 2018, for example, that's 2 years ago. The second line down says that almost 200 people, 182 different businesses in Lincoln County sought us out because we don't really have an advertising budget. We don't do a lot of, hey, come see the SBDC tomorrow. It's people come to us when they need help, and or when they need help for a really good thing, you know, to buy a new business, to acquire a piece of property, or what have you. But anyway, we see around 200 people a year on average, and contrast that to the far left column. That's year to date, the first basically 5 months and 1 week of this year, and we've seen 218 businesses already, and those businesses have attended 56 different events, and about 770 of them have attended at least one of those. And those are just, again, this is just one of many, many measures of what's happening out there in the county. These people are turning to us in ways that they haven't before, and we're trying to respond in ways that we haven't before as well. And then another measure is of course, you've read about all of the various SBA, the Small Business Administration loans. For many people, they conflate the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, with the SBA, and they assume that these are our loans. They are not, but we've worked with a number of people, hundreds of people who are applying for these loans, and as of today, almost $1.7 million has come through into the county from businesses who've worked with us, and whether that was we pointed them to a $3,000 layoff aversion package that was available for a day, or help them apply for a local grant program, or help them determine what they should be asking for in terms of a $150,000 PPP loan. It runs the whole gamut. The vast majority of these loans are very small, with a few outliers. But that's just sort of, we call this our report card, and it's just I've seen these every month and every couple of weeks for the 7 years I've been here at the center, and this has just been a time like no other. But we're going to move along unless anyone has any questions about any of that, and I'm happy to come back.
I do, Dave.
Yeah, fire away.
I have a question for you. When whoever it was that saw these 218 clients already, who are the people that were helping them? How many people do you have that are helping doing the counseling?
Basically three. We have Wendy Ludwig, Misty Lambrecht, and myself. And so Wendy is a part-time business advisor. She's a CPA licensed in California and Oregon. She lives in Seal Rock. And it doesn't really matter where we live now because we can service anyone in the county because we do everything via Zoom, as you can imagine. We haven't seen a client since the 9th of March, I think, or something like that. So that's who does it. And I see a fraction of those folks. It's really mostly Wendy and Misty. And so that's who it is. A staff of basically 2.2 is, I guess, how you'd call it an FTE.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions of Dave for this slide? Okay, hit it.
Okay. So one thing that's come from this, and it's weird to think of good things coming out of COVID, but I think that as a community, we will emerge from this in some ways stronger. And I'm not prepared to say that we will do that as a community. I think we have to see how many of us get through this intact and all of that. But among the things that will be improved is our communication as a center, as a service that is supported by folks like you to Latinx owned businesses. These are folks that, for whatever reason, I'll own this. I have not done a great job recruiting clients who prefer to be, to work with us in Spanish, for one thing. I've had a great resource over the years. Alberto Flores is my business faculty here, and he's been able to come into meetings with us and meet in advising sessions with clients who prefer to speak Spanish, and it works really, really well because he's a native speaker and is also a very business savvy himself, so he's more than just a translator for us. However, he's been sort of quarantined elsewhere. When this hit, he was on a spring break, and he's been basically out of state through this crisis. So what we did was we started hearing from people who were basically, they found us kind of out of desperation. They reached out in ways that they hadn't before. And so I was able to, you get these phone calls at the office in Lincoln City, and I raced to the SBA site and print flyers about certain loan programs in Spanish because that material is out there. And then I reached out to Jorge, who is a business advisor at Central Oregon Community College, SBDC, and he was able to tailor messages for me for those clients and say, hey, this is Dave Price. He wants to help you because you called about this, this, and this. And I was able to go down and hand those documents over and then connect them via email with Jorge so they knew who this person was, and then take the next steps to help them through the loan process or whatever the case may be, negotiating with a landlord in one case. And that's been huge. So we've already really bumped our numbers of dealing with that population. And it's a vibrant, growing, talented population, and one that shouldn't be overlooked. And so if there's a silver lining in any of this, this is one of them for me. And those businesses, everybody on this 144% bump over the last 2 years happens to be in Lincoln City. So you may have received this in your mailbox. This was a glossy magazine. It was the first time or second time we'd ever done a glossy magazine for our Catch the Wave schedule. And we featured your own Lincoln City Parks and Rec on the cover. It was our first time partnering with the city to co-present a number of classes, trying to think that maybe if we could inject a little extra PR and mailing this to every single address in the county, we might light a fire under some of your classes, drive some attendance at the center. None of these classes took place. And we pulled the plug on everything from community ed. And so I just wanted to say thank you to the city. This has really nothing to do with SBDC, but I also wear the hat of community education, and I thought this was a great partnership. Jeannie and company were great help, and it all came for naught. But we intend to do it again if the city is interested. There wasn't any money exchanged. It wasn't anything like that. It was just working together to promote these classes. So in any case, look for that to come back, and we're sorry about the circumstances there. But we wound up bringing some community ed back, all via Zoom. We did a gardening class in Lincoln City. We did photography in Lincoln City, and we did painting, all of which emanated from Zoom. And for the SBDC, we canceled everything outright and then relaunched it all and took the prices off. So we basically offered every class, with one or two exceptions, that we offered originally. But we took the prices off because we were transitioning them all live to Zoom, and we didn't really know how that would go. And we didn't want people to be disappointed with the experience because it was our first time for some of these classes. And so we gave them all away. And they went without a hitch. So much so that next term, we're planning on offering quite a lot online, just in case we wind up in that space. And we're going to charge for them. And because we believe that people have learned it's the same amount of value. And it's got some other benefits too. If I nod off in a class about Instagram marketing and I miss the bit about how I promote an Instagram TV spot and I'm bummed because I missed that one spot, well, if I recorded this on Zoom, I can watch it the next day for free. And so we think there's a lot of value in recorded online instruction. And so we're going to do more of that. And what's called hybrid, where we can have a classroom of folks who are comfortable being in a classroom here at the Lincoln City Center, for example. But we also offer it via Zoom to those folks who aren't so comfortable. And I can talk more if you'd like about our plans, such as they were before Sunday, about reopening the campus to different types of instruction in the fall if you wish. And then last year when I spoke to you, I was very, very excited about the Central Coast Marketing Academy. I remain excited about it. I thought it was great. It hasn't met since February 13th, and that's discouraging. So this is on hold. This was this was funded by a grant from the county, and we were bringing the sharpest minds we knew in Colorado and Kansas and Corvallis to Lincoln County to talk about marketing. And I loved it, and I want to bring it back. But again, it's one of the victims of COVID-19. It was based on a model that we wanted to share ideas in a group of 30 to 50 people in a community room. And so it was the exact opposite of what you want in this environment. So I did not attempt to transition that to live instruction, to video instruction.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, wow.
Oh, yeah. So this is a screenshot of one of the screens of our Lincoln County recovery and response call. And really, most of my day is spent talking to business owners. But once a week during this crisis, I've put together this call with Mayor Anderson's always on it, Allison's always on it, and mayors from throughout the county, folks from the state, Sarah Means from the governor's office. And it all started because Sarah offered to listen to Lincoln County businesses. And I think we've had a pretty good bullhorn. I think we've gotten a lot of attention. I've heard Sarah call out comments that she's received from Lincoln County businesses in her conversations about how to tweak the phases so that, and we haven't always won the argument. We argued against the 10 p.m. closure for bars and restaurants, for example. But other battles we have won. And so this has been an opportunity to take what we hear in the counseling room each and every day and every night and all weekend from our business owners and make sure that it goes somewhere other than just helping them get a loan from the SBA. But they have stories to tell and they have experiences to share. And so this was our answer to finding a way to pass those up the pipeline, if you will. Lori Arcetoris from the Chamber has helped in this. And again, folks from throughout the county. And I've moved here in '96, as some of you know, and in my years here, I've never met some of these people. I didn't know the name of the mayor of some of our towns, and I'm embarrassed to say that, but maybe another takeaway, another benefit. Excuse me. All right, and so what's next? We are going to continue our weekly calls. We do a free webinar that is available to any local business. And we talk about COVID-related topics. We talk about funding. We talk about grants and other things that are happening at the time. I can tell you that this Wednesday, we're probably going to be talking about seafood processing, if I had to guess, and as well as what might or might not happen with phasing now. And of course, we're continuing to offer a variety of different classes and courses. This was probably the slide that you thought you were going to be hearing about this whole time. I just wanted to thank you for your support. I think you pledged something in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $30,000 for the scholarships this year. We didn't spend much at all in the spring, and as you can imagine, except for our small business management program, which has continued. And I'm glad to say that Misty's continued to meet with those folks in virtual settings throughout this entire year, including this term. But you invested nearly $10,000 in scholarships over this academic year. I think it's been exceptionally valuable. I say that every year, but I mean it every year. And I think you're to be commended. And I, for one, thank you for it. And I gather I hope to come back in July, I believe it is. Allison, is that true? Okay, good. If you'll have me, and I'll have more cap in hand, sort of more officially there, as we make an official ask, because we would certainly like this to continue. And in my last slide here, I want to share this. It's not all tiers. We have these at our desks at all times, because you never know who is going to make you tear up when you get a phone call here at the SBDC as I hold up a box of Kleenex, because the people we all know, everyone on this phone, on this call knows people in Lincoln City who are going through some dire straits. The people that we visit, our favorite hairstylists and grocers and restaurants and plumbers and all of that. But occasionally there's these glimmers, and I don't know if you can read this, but this is a Facebook message I got right as I was driving into the driveway a month ago. And it was just from a client who'd been wrestling with an SBA loan that was going nowhere and wasn't getting any response. And just 3 little words made my night. And so it's been fun learning new ways to communicate with clients. I do an awful lot of counseling via Facebook Messenger. I didn't think we used to do that. I didn't think that was allowed, but it is now, as far as I'm concerned. Text message. Had someone drop by my yard once in the middle of the afternoon. We weren't supposed to meet with anybody, so we went out in the back and sat at different ends of the fire pit and talked for 2 hours. So we're trying to be as accessible as possible. And despite those numbers, I think my last thought would be, if you call the SBDC here in Lincoln City and say, I need to meet with somebody, Shirley says, hey, you got to go register online, gives them an address, and they go register. Typically that same day, they have their first conversation with an advisor, either me or Wendy or me. People don't have the time for 72 hours or whatever it was that we used to think was fair. And so that's not always true, but that's our goal. And it's almost always true. And again, gone are the days of, well, we'll talk to you after 8 o'clock or before 5 p.m. Those are pre-COVID rules. So with that, I can stop sharing and give you one last look at Merkel, and I'll give this back to your end, and I'd be happy to field any questions you might have.
Well, Dave, thank you. That was a lot, and I so appreciate you being there and your flexibility, and your report was just heartwarming. Thank you so much. Any comments or questions for Super Dave? No? Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you very much.
And over to Allison, do you have any closing comments for the day?
I don't. No, thank you so much.
Well, thank you all. Our meeting is adjourned. Unless anyone has something to say, that's all I was going to say. Does anyone have any member comments?
Yes, there's another invitation for the 6 o'clock meeting. So we can leave this one and then just go back to your email for the invite that Kathy has already sent out.
Oh, just
Okay.
okay.
Thank you, Ron. Okay, see you guys in a few minutes.
Actually,
Wait.
everyone, it's the same invite for both meetings. We just have to take a 5-minute break.
Oh, okay. So okay,
27-minute break.
thank
Okay,
you.
so let's not conduct a meeting while there's no meeting. Thank you.
Mute everybody.